Okay, students will do today ammonia, that study of compound. Now first we will see general methods of preparation of ammonia. Now ammonium salts. Plus alkali will give you salt plus water plus ammonia. Okay. So with this method we prepare ammonia gas. So we take ammonium salts. So any ammonium salts, but except ammonium nitrate and ammonium nitrate. I'll tell you later. Say ammonium salts, say NH4Cl. Alkali, you know, alkali means NaOH, KOH, COH whole twice. All these are alkalis. So you can take any of the alkali. So if you take KOH, you will get salt. So what salt we will get? Potassium chloride. We will get water and we will get ammonia. Okay. And as I've told you before also, I will not balance any equation, but while you are copying this, you should always balance so that you can have a proper practice of balancing. So while we copy these reactions, you please balance it at once. So ammonium chloride plus KOH will give you this KCl, water and ammonia. Now if you take NH4Cl plus NaOH, so you will get what? NaCl plus H2O plus NH3. Now if you take ammonium sulfate NH4 whole 2 SO4 or another salt is left, you can take NH4Cl and plus calcium hydroxide also you can take. So you will get calcium chloride plus water and plus ammonia. Now similarly, if you take ammonium sulfate NH4 whole 2 SO4 plus again KOH, so you will get K2SO4 potassium sulfate K2SO4 plus H2O plus ammonia, again NH4 whole 2 SO4 plus NaOH, again you will get here Na2 SO4 plus H2O plus ammonia, and again NH4 whole 2 SO4 plus COH whole twice, we will get what? CSO4 plus H2O plus ammonia. So that means finally you have to understand that this is the general equation, that ammonium salt plus alkali will give you a salt, will give you water and will give you ammonia. Now ammonium nitrate NH4NO3 is not used. Now the reason is it is highly explosive in nature. And also it decomposes on heating. So when you heat, it will not react in this way, it will in fact decompose. So when you heat, then it will decompose into dinitrogen oxide and water. Okay, dinitrogen oxide and water, and this is also known as laughing gas, commonly known as laughing gas, N2O or dinitrogen oxide. And if you take ammonium nitrate also, that also on heating it decomposes into nitrogen and water. So we can't take ammonium nitrate, we can't take ammonium nitrate. Now ammonium nitrate, there is also a problem that it is highly explosive in nature, so it is dangerous to use it, and also it decomposes on heating. And similarly ammonium nitrate also decomposes on heating. So we don't use ammonium nitrate, we don't use ammonium nitrate, we don't use ammonium nitrate, but we can use ammonium chloride, we can use ammonium sulfate, and we can use any of the alkali. Okay, so this is the general method of preparation. Okay. Okay, now next is laboratory preparation. Now in part 1 you have seen, number 1, as I have told you, general method of preparation, we can take ammonium chloride or ammonium sulfate, or we can take calcium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, or sodium hydroxide. But in the laboratory, generally we prefer ammonium chloride and calcium hydroxide. Okay. Now, because these are all cheap and easily available. Now, calcium hydroxide, ammonium chloride, both are cheap and easily available. And for calcium hydroxide, it's cheap and easily available, and also not deliquescent. Like other alkali. Okay, NaOH and KOH, they are deliquescent, so they absorb water. Okay, so therefore the reaction does not occur properly. And calcium hydroxide is not deliquescent, and it is also cheap and easily available. And in the reactants also, out of this NH4Cl and calcium hydroxide, a higher ratio of calcium hydroxide is taken. That means calcium hydroxide is taken in more quantity than ammonium chloride, and it is thoroughly mixed properly. Why? Because ammonium chloride is a sublimating substance. Now if you take, now in this reaction you see NH4Cl plus CaOH whole twice, so this is the reaction. So ammonium chloride plus calcium hydroxide, you will get what? Ammonium salt plus alkali will give you salt plus water plus ammonia, naturally on heating. Okay, you should heat. Now, ammonium chloride is a sublimating substance. You know, on heating, ammonium chloride will sublime. Now, to minimize this sublimation, what we do, we take a greater quantity of calcium hydroxide thoroughly mixed with ammonium chloride. Otherwise, you can understand, if in this mixture, if in this mixture of NH4Cl and CaOH whole twice, now when we heat, now if most of the ammonium chloride sublime, then how they will react? So this, to minimize this sublimation, we take a higher ratio of calcium hydroxide, and thoroughly mixed with ammonium chloride, so that ammonium chloride sublime at a very minimum rate. So therefore the reaction occurs, and then we get ammonia. Okay, and then collection is by downward displacement of air. Downward displacement of air, because since ammonia is lighter than air, and it is not collected by downward displacement of water, not collected by downward displacement of water, because it is highly soluble. Okay, it is highly soluble in water. Okay, so how we collect? We collect the delivery tube of the ammonia gas. Okay, we keep an inverted flask like this, and as ammonia goes, this ammonia gas, the air comes out in this way. Understand? And therefore it is called downward displacement of air. And to understand that gas jar is full of ammonia, we can bring a glass rod dipped in hydrochloric acid, okay, HCl, and the dense white fumes will come, due to the formation of ammonium chloride, and we can understand that the jar is okay. So this is how we prepare ammonia in laboratory. Okay, now is manufacture of ammonia. Now in the industries, manufacture of ammonia is done by a process that is known as Haber's process. So the reactants is nitrogen and hydrogen in the ratio of 1:3 by volume. Nitrogen is obtained from the fractional distillation of liquefied air. Okay, so air is liquefied, and the main composition of air is nitrogen and oxygen. So we first convert air into liquid air, and then by fractional distillation we get nitrogen, and we get hydrogen from water gas, and that water gas is actually prepared by Bosch process. Now the reaction between nitrogen and hydrogen occurs in this favorable condition. So these conditions are necessary, and then we get ammonia. So the temperature should be between 450 to 500 degrees Celsius, pressure between 200 to 900 atm. It depends upon the capacity of the furnace that we are using for the manufacture. Okay, the capacity, it depends upon what is the capacity of the furnace, but pressure is generally between 200 to 900 atm. Catalyst is finely divided iron, and promoter is molybdenum or aluminum oxide. So I hope everybody know what is a catalyst. Catalyst increases the rate of the reaction. And what is promoter? Promoter is that chemical substance which increases the efficiency of a catalyst. Means it prevents catalyst poisoning, because catalyst, after using it for a long time, so it get corrupt, so it get poisoned. So hence, to increase the efficiency of catalyst, we use a promoter. Here the promoter is molybdenum or aluminum oxide. Okay, so this is how we manufacture ammonia by Haber's process, and very important, and you have to learn these conditions. These conditions are also very important. Okay, now its physical properties of ammonia. Now it's a colorless gas with a strong pungent choking smell. It's a non-poisonous gas. Okay, it's a non-poisonous gas, but if inhaled, it affects the respiratory system and bring tears to eyes. And it is a powerful heart stimulant. That means, heart become active and the heartbeat increases. And hence, if it is inhaled in a large quantity, may cause death. Understand? Although it's a non-poisonous, but since it affects the respiratory system and it's a powerful heart stimulant, so heart become active very much, and hence if it is inhaled in large quantity, then it may cause death. And it is highly soluble in water, and that can be demonstrated by the fountain experiment. And that fountain experiment I have already explained to you in my HCl video. So the same thing, same concept, but since HCl was an acid, that is turning that blue litmus solution to a red fountain, and in ammonia there will be a red litmus solution, and that will form a blue fountain. But the concept is same. Since ammonia is also highly soluble in water, it can also form fountain. Okay, so that's about the physical properties of ammonia. Okay, now we'll go we'll see chemical properties of ammonia. Now first is burning of ammonia. In fact, ammonia is a non-supporter of combustion, and it also does not burn in air. But in fact, ammonia burns in pure oxygen. So ammonia burns in oxygen, but it does not burn in air, and also it does not let others to burn. So that means it is a non-supporter of combustion, and it does not burn in air, but it burns in oxygen with an yellowish green flame. Okay, so this observation is important. And we get nitrogen and water vapor. Okay, so ammonia burns in oxygen to give nitrogen and water vapor. But if this ammonia reacts with oxygen in presence of heated platinum at a temperature of 800 degrees Celsius, then that ammonia oxidizes to nitric oxide and water, and the reaction is highly exothermic. And this nitric oxide, it's a colorless gas. But after the reaction, a reddish brown vapor of nitrogen dioxide is seen because the colorless nitric oxide is further oxidized to nitrogen dioxide. Okay, because due to this oxygen that is present, so first we get nitric oxide, and then that nitric oxide oxidizes to nitrogen dioxide, and hence reddish brown vapors of nitrogen dioxide is seen in the flask due to the oxidation of nitric oxide. And the platinum continues to glow even after the heating is discontinued. Means when the heating is stopped, still the platinum remains glowing, because it's an exothermic reaction, and that heat, due to this heat, platinum continues to glow. Okay, so these are two important points you have to remember. So this is, one is the burning of ammonia, and next is the catalytic oxidation of ammonia. Okay. Okay, now the next chemical properties is ammonia as a reducing agent. Okay, this is also a very important reaction. Now if they ask you show with a reaction that ammonia is a reducing agent, then you can give these two reaction. And they can also ask you, how can you prove that ammonia is made up of nitrogen and hydrogen? Then also you can use this reaction, and therefore this reaction is very important. Now, ammonia reduces lower metallic oxide, copper oxide and lead oxide. It does not reduce the higher metallic oxide like sodium oxide, potassium oxide, magnesium oxide, because they are stable. They are reactive compound, their oxides are stable. But this copper oxide and lead oxide, ammonia can reduce this copper oxide to copper and lead oxide to lead. So therefore here ammonia is acting as a reducing agent. The observation is also very important. Black copper oxide changes to reddish brown copper, and yellow lead monoxide changes to grey lead. Okay, so when copper oxide reacts with ammonia, you get reddish brown copper, nitrogen and water vapor, and similarly lead monoxide and ammonia, you get grayish lead, nitrogen and water. So this is the reactions which proves that ammonia is a reducing agent. And this reaction also proves that ammonia is made up of nitrogen and hydrogen. Okay, now the next reaction is reaction with chlorine. Now in chlorine we have to do this two reaction. Means it reacts in two ways. First, when chlorine is in excess, that means when chlorine is excess compared to ammonia. And the next, when ammonia will be in excess. Okay, that I will show you. Now when chlorine is in excess, so that means here the chlorine is excess. So ammonia reacts with chlorine to give nitrogen trichloride, NCl3 and HCl. Now this nitrogen trichloride is an yellow, oily, highly explosive liquid. Okay, so this generally NCl3 is used in explosive, making bombs, and it is generally an yellow oily colored liquid. Okay, so we get NCl3 and HCl. Now when ammonia is in excess, okay, you see the reaction here, NH3 plus Cl2. Now first you will get N2 plus HCl, and this reaction continues, and since here ammonia is in excess, after this reaction still some ammonia is left, and that ammonia reacts with HCl. Okay, so next step, this excess ammonia, okay, this excess ammonia reacts with HCl and to give NH4Cl. Understand? So try to understand. First, the first step, ammonia reacts with chlorine to give you nitrogen and HCl, and the second, what you get ammonia, excess ammonia reacts with this HCl, okay, reacts with this HCl, and we get ammonium chloride. Now you can understand overall what we get. Overall we have taken what? NH3 plus Cl2, and the overall reaction will be, final product will be nitrogen and NH4Cl. So this is the overall reaction, okay. So you can understand, first these two, ammonia and chlorine, they react to give nitrogen and HCl, and this HCl reacts with the excess ammonia and you get NH4Cl. So the final product, in the final product you will not get any HCl, because that HCl has already reacted with ammonia and to form NH4Cl, and therefore finally we write the overall reaction as NH3Cl2 and this, okay. So here also you have to balance all these three equations. So whenever this equation comes, this reaction comes, you have to in fact write all these three reactions. Okay, so first so you should do in these two steps. Ammonia reacts with chlorine to give nitrogen and HCl, and that excess ammonia reacts with this HCl forming ammonium chloride. So overall ammonia, after reacting with chlorine, we are getting what? We are getting nitrogen, and we are getting ammonium chloride. So this is when excess ammonia is there, okay. So this is also very important, okay. Okay, the next chemical properties is reaction with acids. Now this is pretty easy, you know. Ammonia reacts with hydrochloric acid to give ammonium chloride, ammonia reacts with sulfuric acid to give ammonium sulfate, and ammonia reacts with nitric acid to give ammonium nitrate, okay. And the last part of this chapter is tests for ammonia. Now this also you know, both the reaction in fact you know. First you know, you have already studied in HCl also that it gives dense white fumes with concentrated HCl. So NH3 plus HCl give NH4Cl. So due to this NH4Cl, then dense white film is formed. And this one also you know, that when ammonia gas is passed through copper sulfate solution, a pale blue PPT of copper hydroxide is formed, and on passing excess gas, the pale blue precipitate dissolve, forming a deep blue solution of tetramine copper 2 sulfate. In fact, when ammonia reacts with copper sulfate solution, now copper sulfate solution means copper sulfate dissolved in water. So that means already water is there in copper sulfate solution, and that in fact that water also reacts with ammonia. And in fact, when ammonia reacts with copper sulfate solution, it changes into ammonium hydroxide. Okay, ammonia plus water. And water where we get, where it gets from this copper sulfate solution. So in fact that ammonia becomes ammonium hydroxide. It reacts with copper sulfate solution. Now you have done this reaction in analytic chemistry. So copper sulfate solution, and you get a pale blue precipitate of copper hydroxide and ammonium sulfate, okay, NH4 whole 2 SO4. So this is a pale blue precipitate, and this pale blue precipitate, that is copper hydroxide and NH4 whole 2 SO4, which we already got. And on passing excess ammonia, they told excess ammonia means again excess ammonium hydroxide, NH4OH. Okay, you get tetramine copper 2 sulfate, a deep blue solution. So I told you already, you first write copper sulfate CuSO4, and then tetramine means 4 ammonia. So write here N is 3 and whole 4, and this is the positive radical and that is the negative. So this is tetramine copper 2 and this is deep blue solution. So these are the two common tests that we can apply to identify ammonia gas. Okay, so this is the end of ammonia chapter. Okay.